Hi everyone, and welcome back. I thought I was going to do a quick voiceover for Second Life instead of today. It was just because this video, I've actually been pulling out a lot of videos because it's Halloween, so I wanted to be doing a massive Halloween pull-out event. That's basically what I was going to call it. So for the next rest of October, I'm going to be constantly uploading videos, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 times a day. Um, it's just because it's October, it's start of fall, and snow's about to fly where I live, so there's no way of really going out very much. So this is the only way I'm staying proactive. So right now I'm actually starting in the living room. I'm actually making special built-in cabinets, and this house is actually turning into something that I thought would I thought it would never really turn out, and the way it actually did turn out, it's bringing me to the point in my life that I have a purpose back in Second Life. I'm actually figuring out how to do things. Here's me being smart. I'm bringing out the oldie but goldie prim docker. This is no longer available on Marketplace, sadly. They do not sell it. I think they went out of business because of the whole mesh, and plus, when it was first introduced, Snap to Grid was not a feature, and then about 5 years ago, Snap to Feature became a feature in Second Life, so prim docker was no longer available. I do, however, use Snap to Grid, like you can see there as well. But I also use the prim docker too, so I know where things go in the middle and how it's going to all turn out to be placed. My houses will be actually, I'm not sponsored, but I'm actually building my houses around the VA TVs. That's the TVs that I use in my home. There's another TV called XTV. I also use those as well. So they're the same size of the VIA TVs. So I've been actually wanting to make, I did this to my own house down below, and I really like the way it turned out. It brings a lot more character to a home. It brings more of a Canadian style. I was born in the States, but I was raised in Canada. I was raised on a farm as a kid, and so when I see these built-in cabinets, it brings me back to the farm, to my childhood, and it just puts a smile on my face. So that's something that I've really always really wanted, was to just find something that I love to do and do it. And that's what I did. I went on Marketplace. I told my husband, I says, probably gonna run out of lindens by the time the end of this weekend, and he said, that's fine, I'll get you some more by Monday. And he says, but you gotta get this house done. And I says, I know I gotta get this done. But I know no homes are built overnight. I know houses takes years to build. Second Life, I used to take about 24 hours to build one house. Now for mesh, I'm taking 2 weeks to get just a mesh house finished. And it's just because I want to be slow, I want to be proactive, and I want it to look good. I also wanted to bring out more of my personality. So when I was bringing out my personality, I was thinking about, how can I make this look nicer? How can I make this look better? And how can I make this look more unique with standard book built-ins? And I know a lot of the family might just end up tearing this apart, have fun, because it is connected to the entire house. And a lot of people know how to edit link parts. But I did that deliberately, because when I finally did eventually link everything together, and you'll see it on the end of this video, that I was able to stay under the 100 prim count marker just on the final shell like the first final shell of the house. That's not talking about windows and doors and a little few extra tidbits that I was going to add into this house. But that does not count towards the maximum. I had maximum of 100 just for the walls and the ceiling and the floors. And that was it. And the built-in and the fireplace and everything else. And that was my goal. And I was able to stay under that. So that makes me feel like this house is going to be about 140 prims maximum, give or take. So here's me. I haven't really used this fireplace for 7 years. So I didn't know how I was going to put it into a small, tiny area. And then all of a sudden I was talking to my husband on the phone. He was actually just going to work and he says, what if you blow that wall out? And he added into like a built-in. And I'm thinking like, Tim, you might be onto something. And he says, I'm smarter than you think, honey. So I'm like, okay, my husband's more smarter than I am. So then I'm thinking about, I'm just trying to think about how I can get things works correctly and how it works and how it all lines up. And that's where I had a problem here. I didn't really want to make that door frame really, really thick, but I had to make it really thick because if I didn't make it thick, I would have to add another wall. And that's something that I don't like doing in a mesh house if I have to keep adding on walls. So if I have to keep adding on walls, it's not going to look correctly by the time it's finished. And so that is when I try to make the best of it. So I try to add an extra wall here, an extra wall there, but I try to keep the prim count as low as possible. I used to make houses and not give a crap about prim countage because I used to always lived on a full sim. My ex-husband and I, we lived good. And I didn't have to worry about the bills that I have to worry now. So me living on a smaller land until the end of the month, I've actually have learned that you got to be really careful and stickler about your prim counts. So that is something that I've been actually bringing back to my customers. I'm reopening up, opening up my marketplace store, and it's because I was away so long, and my houses used to sell. I think I used to sell like 6 or 7 homes within not even an hour. Within 10 seconds, there'd be houses going off the market that I'd be selling. And I used to always pull in about 6 to 7 homes a week. And then I stopped because I got burnt out. I was going through a really rough divorce, and I thought, screw it, I'm moving to California. So I moved back to the States, and I lived there for just about 2 years. I ended up coming back home, and I ended up getting back with the partner that I am with now, and I was able to live the way I've lived. So the houses that I build are the houses that I've seen in real life, I've witnessed, or I've been in. And that's something that I like to build, is realistic homes. A lot of that, one of that massive little skinny wing over there, people were like, well, that's really stupid to do that. I like the way it is because it looks cool. Okay, I might add a few extra tidbits more, but I like it because it makes it look like the house is not so boxed in. So I was gonna put like hedges back there on the sides and make it more look like it's supposed to be there. So that is something that I have an idea when it's all finished and all done. So here's me just adding on to these white corner pieces. This is what I was talking to you guys about. I'm just pushing into that block. That block eventually, I think it gets colored as black, because eventually I'm going to make a texture says place your VA TV here, and this is your measurements, and this is how you place it. I was also having issues getting into the Reborn event. I was actually trying for about 12 hours. I finally got to the Reborn event, and this is just me waiting to get into it. So I hated that, because it's like I wanted to go and check it out, because they have unlimited, they have something that just came out, and I really like it because it screams body positivity. And I know it was unlimited. I didn't know when I thought it was going to be finished by end of the month. I found it's done about November 5th. So when I get paid again, end of the month, I'm going to head over there again and probably sink more in my teeth, because I know by end of the month there'll be some more cool stuff to get. So I need to work on that. And so here's me thinking about how I was going to make the fireplace original. And I thought built-ins. So I took the TV stand and I used the 2 built-ins as made it look like a built-in fireplace. And the way I did it, I'm actually pretty shocked of how it turned out. Remember, this is not the final rough copy. I haven't even worked on figuring out what kind of textures am I going to put in. I need to still go on to Marketplace, and I still need to figure out if I want to put this texture in, or if I want to buy that texture, and how much is this going to cost, and how much is that going to cost. I know by the time this house is done, I'll be putting back into it. So this house could actually easily go for 5,000 lindens if I really wanted to do it. But since it's new, and since I'm pouring in so much effort, I'm probably only going to sell it for about 800, just for the first 6 or 7 months, and then put it up to 1,000. And it's something that, this is my first meshed house. This is something that I'm excited for. This is something that I'm happy for. This is something that I live and breathe, and I never thought ever that I can get something done so perfect. And I feel very accomplished today. More accomplished than I have in months. And that's something that really I lack confidence. My husband and I, we were going through a rough patch, and I fell into a really bad depression, and I didn't know if my marriage was going to be saved or not. Eventually, it did get saved. We're back to normal. We're back to being happy and healthy and everything else. And I'm actually finally able to say that I can now get up in the morning and say, okay, so what is today going to be like? What do I want to do today? And I know from Sunday, I'm taking the entire day off, and I am literally spending time with my kids, my husband. I'm literally spending time with my family, and that's it. I'm not doing anything else. I'm spending time with my family. Monday morning, I'll be back on Second Life, back to doing real life things. Then when Thursday hits, that's the day that I actually also take off. So I take off Thursdays and I took off Sundays. And I usually take off the days that hubby has off from work. Usually it depends on the schedule and stuff. His schedule's been following on a Sunday lately, which has been nice. I've been actually able to say, yes, okay, I'm happy. Let's get this done. Let's get this started. But then I'm thinking, like, how can I get this house properly finished if nothing's working? So I was looking at this and I was feeling like, okay, that part of that and that entertainment standard was way too close to that wall. And I'm thinking, like, in real life terms, is how the heck are we going to get out to the deck? So I had to move it over. So here's me being smart and trying to figure out, measurements and trying to figure out how I wanted to do this. I like to make sure everything's as even as possible. So it doesn't matter if one side is bigger than the other. Yes, it does. Especially for my OCD. And that is something that I have been finally have come to terms that I have severe OCD. I have it. I've had it for a while. And I hate showing it to people because I really don't like to make things as perfect as it seems. But the way this house finally turned out, it is something where I can be like, yeah, I could probably live in this. And my family and I would be happy. So this is where I moved that wall over. I might still move that wall a little bit more over. I haven't really figured out what I want to do yet. So what I like to do is I like to stage my houses around the furniture that I use. And then I like to figure out, is this going to fit here? How do I make this work for a different family? And that's something that I thrive on. I thrive on thinking about realism and real life. And I get the love of carpentry from not from my godparents, but I get the love of carpentry from my grandfather, my adopted father. He was a carpenter, he was a plumber, electrician, a miner, coal miner, and of course, God rest his soul, he was also a veteran. So that was what my dad was. So my dad, don't mind the cats, my dad taught me quite a bit of how to measure, how to make things proper, how to have it come down to place. And because of that, it is now something that I say, yes, I built this. It may not look the greatest. It may not seem or make sense, but really it is something that I can say, yes, I did it. So here's me linking the entire house, seeing if I went over my 100 prim count. If I did went over, I would have to remove a room or just leave it alone. Usually if I go over a little bit and it's not too much, it's like 1 or 2 prims, I usually just leave it alone and I don't touch it. But bad problem about just leaving stuff alone is you don't know if it's not going to work later on. So that's why I just try to connect everything when it's not done. And then when I have to go back and I have to reline the walls because there's about maybe a half, not even a centimeter part cut into the wall that you literally can see the other side. That is something that I have to work on later. But this is something that I can say, yeah, okay, cool. This is what I'm going to work with. And this is how I do it. And that is something that I thrive on. Oh, I had a problem getting that wall. And later on I figured out how to do it. So what is I had to make that room a little bit bigger. So I had to raise it up a little bit. And then I had to grab that floor, connect it, bring that room back down, and it was fine. It was perfect. It was still connected. Everything was working fine. But yeah, no, this is something that I was having a lot of problems because I don't like using black because I am legally blind at nighttime, and anything that's really, really dark, like pitch raven witchy black, even in a video game, it's hard for me to count my bearings. So this is me switching to different colors. And so I'm trying to figure out that what is connected and what do I need to still connect. And this took me about a half an hour to do. And I was like thinking in my mind, I should take a break, I should try to get to reborn. And I was actually taking quite a bit of a break. You don't see this with this recording because it's sped up, but I was taking lots of breaks trying to message the Reborn community to see if someone could be willing to get off of the bloody sim so I can get on, which I was able to, and I'm really happy I was. So that's something that I really kind of get a little irky about, because it's like, yeah, I know everyone else has things to get done and they have to go and do their thing, but it's kind of my fault too. I should have actually stayed up, and I actually should have been there for that event when it first started. But anyways, this is the end of the video. Have a great day and stay safe, everyone. Bye for now. The like, subscribe button down below, and I hope you like these videos from Second Life. Bye, guys!